You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 3 and Episode number 151 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day, is Wednesday, June 28th, and that's a correction on myself because yesterday I said today is Wednesday, record June 27th. It's Tuesday, and it was even written in the little blurb that we put in, but clearly I think I needed caffeine too. Apparently.
So it would seem.
And after yesterday's rain, it will be a cloudy day here at the Beaver Lodge with perhaps some sun by the end. It is also, for our Muslim kids and cubs, El Al-Adha, one of Islam's main two festivals, which marks the climax of the annual pilgrimage to the Hajj, which started a few days ago. I had actually made a note and forgot to mention it with all the going back and forth. But it's basically translates to the Festival of the Sacrifice, and it celebrates the willingness of Ibrahim, or Abraham, if you're making a translation into Judeo-Christian religion, to sacrifice his son on God's command, and then God provided a ram, sparing the boy's life in the story. So the day is marked with prayers and giving of food to those in need. So may your celebrations be joyous, and may peace be with you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Mm-hmm. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me as always is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a Wednesday morning nibble for you, and just, quick little, well, before we do anything, let's first ask Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today?
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. Mental health-wise, yeah, jury's out on that one.
Okay.
A little tired. Well, I woke up at
You
4
look
a.m.
well.
Oh, thanks. I woke up at 4 a.m. And felt despair and emptiness, and loneliness, and that general I hate my life feeling that comes along with the plight that is depression. I'm not feeling that right now. Just when I first woke up, so I'm a little slow, and I'm still on the uncaffeinated coffee because I'm not going to throw it out. I mean, I did brew it, right? So I should drink it.
Right.
I can't look. There are starving children in the streets of Ottawa that can't afford decaffeinated coffee. So
Right.
I mean, I know I'm putting a
I,
little bit
I,
of humor in there, but I mean, there's a sense of realism in it. Don't throw it out if you don't have to, is what I'm getting at. You know, if it's still usable, use it. It's not. It doesn't go bad.
hey, worst comes to worst, you serve it to guests.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I brewed a big pot of it and I filled my carafe. But the
Yes.
carafe, you know, so I'll empty the carafe and then it'll stay in storage until people come over and somebody asks for decaf, and then I'll brew them up a pot.
There you go. Good morning, Kit Ellen. Good morning, Kit Elaine, Kit Jillian, Kit Linda M, Mike H, PNC Bio. It's lovely to see you. Yes, Kit the Daily Beaver, Kit Jen, Kit Tabby G, Kit Donna Monroe. A luta continua. Absolutely. Um,
What does that mean? A luta
the
continua?
struggle continues.
Oh, the struggle continues. Oh, I was thinking, well, luta, I'm thinking luchador, wrestling.
Yeah, lut.
Thought it
Well,
was the
that,
wrestle.
yeah, wrestling's called lut in French.
Yes, okay. So I was thinking the wrestle continues.
Yeah, the struggle, the wrestle. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, all right. So I was
Yeah,
on the right track. I was just doing a
yeah.
literal translation, right?
Yeah.
Which is
PNC and Bio says triple up, it'll be a real cup.
okay. I'll give that a go. I'll give that a go.
Yeah, that's. But it's like if you're drinking coffee 3-1 to get the real caffeine, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the bathroom.
Yes, that because coffee is both a diuretic and a laxative.
Yes,
So
yes. There you go. It's there.
why do you need a
Just
coffee enema? Just drink it, man. It'll come out.
the True North Eager Beaver, where you come for your science as well as nutritional information, because we're the authorities. Before we start today, Mr. Grizzly, I did something yesterday.
Good or bad?
Something good.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I saw
uh,
that, and
we talked about this
mhm,
movie on the show. You brought it to my attention. I didn't even know it was being made.
I really want to see this.
It's I couldn't find it in Ottawa. Apparently, it's coming to the Mayfair.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Um, I went to see Bones of Crows. It's actually been playing for 3 weeks at our equivalent of the Mayfair.
Oh,
It's been here for 3 weeks. I think today might be the last showing,
mm,
according to the calendar. Anyway, they haven't issued next week's calendar, but they say they say it's been well attended.
good.
Um,
Yeah,
that
it's going to leave
movie,
you with all the emotions, right?
I was very shook. I broke out in tears probably about 3 different times
Hmm.
in the movie. Not at the parts,
That you might
sometimes not
think.
in the ways I thought I would.
Hmm.
Um, I knew there was going to be a scene of separation because I saw it
The
when I
preview, yeah.
watched a little bit of Pour Toi Flora.
Hmm.
That's what we've done, and I knew that was going to be rough. And because I was a foster kid and
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have been taken away, um, it uh, it was really weird. It wasn't the kids being upset that provoked the crying; it was the mother.
Oh, really?
I couldn't stop thinking of what my mom must have been
Went through.
feeling like when
Yeah,
I knew what I felt like. But to see it, oh boy,
yeah.
yeah. Whew, so I watched it. It is a fantastic movie in its own right. Okay, without the
Right.
subject matter, without great writing, fantastic acting, incredible cinematography. They go through time.
Hmm.
They literally go through time. There's different venues. We're at the different venues. Um, it's a parallel story of two sisters and how one for whom ultimately things work out and one for whom it doesn't. Um, but it's way, way more. Um,
It's going to leave you with all the emotional baggage that you carried into the theater. You're going to leave in the theater, basically. From
when
what that's the feeling I get anyway.
yeah, when the movie was over,
Hmm.
I couldn't get up out of my seat.
Oh,
There's some people when the credits were rolling were able to get up and
hmm.
start making, and I couldn't.
Needed a moment, did you?
I was vibrating literally vibrating, shaking. And I guess there's a couple of people in the theater who heard me cry, and there was this lovely, when you say Gen Z is all right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this lovely, lovely young couple.
Mm-hmm.
And they were speaking in sign language a lot
Okay.
as well. And when it was over, they were talking to each other. And at one point, she just turned around and looked at me and says, "Do you want a hug?" I was like, I actually think I do,
Yeah.
actually. And that has never happened to me before.
Just a stranger.
Clearly, to go see a movie and be that shook that someone would do. And we talked a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still vibrating, and then the lady came in to clean the theater and says, "You can stay and sit here for a while. You wouldn't be the first."
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, I'm okay. And I made it downstairs, and then there was a bench in front of the movie theater, and I just sat there, and I think I was there for about 35 minutes before I was okay to get up and get on my bike and
Wow.
come home. I was shook to my core.
Good to know.
As far as I'm concerned, this should win all the awards. All the awards. I didn't know there are some two Quebec actors in there as well, Rémi Girard and Karine Vanasse.
Oh, I love Kitty and Venice.
Yeah.
I've chatted with her a number of times on the Twitter. Lovely actor, lovely person, incredibly talented performer.
Yeah. And Rémi Girard, if you've seen Decline of the American Empire, The Barbarian Invasions, and there's the third one in the series, I can't remember now off the top of my head. But I had very rarely ever seen him act in English.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
what the
it's pretty
interesting
rare
part
for him.
is that Rémi Girard essentially played this same role in Pour Toi Flora,
Okay.
the black robe priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the performances are fantastic.
So it should clean up at the Canadian Screen Awards then.
It should, and I'm really hoping now. I know once this gets stateside and whatnot, the connection and the story doesn't quite resonate
with as many people.
Yeah, but as this should be Oscar nominated, it deserves to be Oscar nominated and win.
Mm.
It's that good. So, Kits, it's not a nice light night out at the movies, but if you want to feel something, and if you want to see something really, really, really fantastic, it's hard, but it is art. It is art. See it, and it's a really good story. If this was totally fiction and hadn't happened in real life,
it would be
it's a
enveloping.
fantastic story. But
It's tragic because it took place, right?
right.
This is the true story for a lot of families.
Yep. And it's there are things you can relate. You do not have to be Indigenous to relate.
Okay.
So it's very, very, very well done. It's very well done. All right. So like I said, run, don't walk, run. It's worth
Get to the theater.
All right. In the news a little bit, wildfires are still burning. We still have over 400, about 490 of them. It's just, and
That
Lord
must
knows
be
how
a
many
record.
under control. Yeah, it is a record. We have now burned the record number of hectares.
Great.
This is now the biggest fire season in Canadian history by far.
Yay, new record.
We got the rest of the summer to go. And I think
It's still early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still early. So the wildfires have led to an evacuation order for the town of Leaf Rapids, Manitoba. The fire was fewer than 10 kilometers away from the town at that point. So pay some attention there. There was heavy rain in northwestern Quebec, which has helped in Quebec. They say that, at least they were saying yesterday, that all of the heavy rain has made a situation where all the fires are now contained, so none of them are burning out of control, which means hopefully they'll be able to start extinguishing them with, using water and various types of fire breaks and that type of stuff. But with that big mass of smoke, it was so smoky that the water bombers couldn't do anything for a while. They were grounded.
It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
You can't see.
Right now, there's another air quality advisory for part of the Great Lakes region, which has some of the worst air quality in the world at the moment. There's another special air quality statement in effect. Detroit, Chicago, and Toronto are holding spots 2, 3, and 4 on the global ranking for poorest air quality, as of the news this morning anyway. There's also warnings now, not only for the east, but the west, for areas of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and northeastern British Columbia as well for folks, for smoke. Montreal, on the other hand, things are getting better.
It's improved significantly here in Ottawa, too.
So there's that. Also, in the news, missed it yesterday, but David Johnston has filed his final report as Special Rapporteur with the Privy Council of Ontario. Are we at Players or Du Maurier air quality yet? Yeah, we are.
That's really funny.
We literally are.
Yeah.
I think I was reading something like I can't remember what the activity was, but they say it would have been the equivalent of smoking 6 cigarettes on a certain day.
Great.
I think if you had gone for like a half-hour jog or something, or an hour jog or something. But yeah, David Johnson had filed his final report with the Special Rapporteur, as Special Rapporteur with the Privy Council Office of Ontario. Privy Council Office. Oh my God, I'm having trouble today. I saw PCO and I just said Ontario. The Privy Council Office. It's a confidential add-on to the May 23rd report investigating allegations of foreign interference. So, of course, that prompts the whole conservative thing to say, yeah, just get more cover up and, hey, because, there's classified information in there. So, but anyway, we got the usual song and dance, but seems to have died down pretty quickly. This as well, I believe, is a document that Johnson invited the NSIRA and NSICOP to look over, as well as opposition leaders who have received their clearance. I like that. Just that little subtle opposition leaders with security clearance will be allowed to see it.
Mm-hmm. Which, Elizabeth May and Jagmeet Singh and Eve, they're going to go right for it, Well, actually, Blanchet may not.
No, Blanchet is not.
No, he won't. Yeah.
He's on the record already. I don't know if he'll change his mind, but that's why I keep on saying BQ CPC coalition.
Yeah. A match made in hell. So I was just thinking, because that the smoke from the fires is traveled all the way to Europe.
Yes.
That would be export A quality smoke. Because it's from Canada. Export A. That's how you can tell they're Canadian. Because it's an export, eh? Okay. I beat that horse to death, didn't I?
Export A. How'd you like the export A?
How's it going, eh?
I love it. I love it. Boom. You got to get Hugo. Boom. Other news. Again, because we had so much news, we didn't get time to say it yesterday. But yes, the inflation numbers were expected out, and they came in with a huge drop. Because from March to April, it had gone up from 4.3 to 4.4, which then started causing some panic, and then led the Bank of Canada to raise interest rates another 0.25% to 4.75. The Bank of Canada has come out to say that they'll probably stop at 5%, so they're planning another one at some point. I think they were planning it for July, but the inflation rate, the CPI, dropped a full 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Down to 3.4. Now, that's mostly on the back of fuel prices, which are down 18% over the past 12 months, which kind of makes PPs like, you're paying so much for carbon with that damn tax, kind of look kind of weird. But food, unfortunately, and this is more proof, yet more proof,
Mm-hmm.
right, that it's not Justin Trudeau's policies, because core inflation is going down and food inflation is still at 9%.
Mm-hmm. Of course it is, because they're greedy bastards.
Actually, turns out it seems not, according to the Competition Bureau of Canada. But we'll get to that. But we still have an ongoing war where climate change is not helping with agriculture. There are still, most supply things are okay, but well, they're getting, that sort of has unclogged the supply route and supply chain stuff. But
There's only, what, 5 companies that really control groceries in Canada for the most part?
yes.
We're not going to
So,
name them because,
we'll talk about them specifically. Francis Donald of Manulife, the chief economist for Manulife, says that inflation is moving in the right direction, but it's not because of any policy that's happened at home. It's because of the math of comparing this year's numbers to last year's numbers, when last year we were at the height of a major geopolitical conflict. So fuel price shocks resulting from the war in Ukraine have leveled out, but the Bank of Canada is looking at, like I said, another quarter point interest rate. But that window for that hike is closing because everybody still talking about a recession coming at some point later this year. But we have things like, for example, going on in Florida. There's a disease that's decimating orange crops and therefore raising the prices of oranges. And there's nothing the Bank of Canada or Trudeau can do about that. And just like earlier this year, because of avian flu, there's so many chickens that had to be culled that the price of eggs went crazy for a while. And then last year there was the price of lettuce at one point because of a drought, so or a pesticide infection, right? So I mean, there are other reasons for which food is being singled out, and that those prices are not going down, and it has nothing to do with any national government or an interest rate policy, or right. With the possible exception of when we're talking about national government, Putin, because Ukraine is kind of the world's breadbasket, and he's still screwing things up there. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation, which is an agricultural lobbying group in the United States, for a party of 10, a family can expect to pay under $68 for a cookout, or for a group of 10. But last year, that was $70, so it's only a 3% decrease. So it's the exact same thing in the States. While core inflation here has gone down from a high of 8.1% to 3.4%, food has only decreased 3%. There are other things specifically affecting food. Now, yesterday, the Canada Competition Bureau put out its report because they had been looking into price fixing and collusion. And they're recommending for the long run that the government should take steps to facilitate and attract foreign grocers to come to Canada. But they're saying that the greedflation claim wasn't really all that accurate. Overall grocery store profit margins have increased only modestly over the last 5 years, and but they do say that the sector is too concentrated with, like you said, just 5 companies dotting the landscape, because even though we have lots of name of stores, they're all in the same company. So, for example, Loblaws has Fortinos and TNT. Sobeys also has Safeway and IGA. Metro also has Food Basics and Jean Coutu. So, it seems that, and when they were talking about it earlier on, I was kind of trying to do the math in my head. If like all these costs have gone up X%, and then grocery stores say that their profits have gone up 10%. Well, that's all that 10% was pretty much in flow through money that went for increased shipping and increased inventory and increased, not increased inventory, but maybe unused inventory space while things weren't weren't flowing so well, and fuel spikes, and when something would happen, something would shut down, and then the price of something would spike very quickly. So it seems that whatever was being passed on was just flow through for the most part. It seems it, and in the previous reports where they said where the grocery stores were making most of their profit were on selling non-grocery items. So when you go to
Right.
those big Loblaws and you see that Grow Fresh section there, or stuff like that, or they have a pharmacy in there with it, or things
A
like that.
furniture section, a houseware section, a household
Yeah.
item section, the pharmacy that sells all brand of toiletries, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
So it seems that that's where the most of it came from. Listen, it's cold comfort because we've, while that's going on, we still had like the bread price fixing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing came down on that too, right? Lately, and a further decision. So it's we're gonna have to do something at some point, because he was saying food is crazy and it's getting worse. We need collaborative solutions. That's
Well,
absolutely.
I read an article the other day written in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador about how they say food banks are a total failure of society. They don't help nearly enough people, and what we need to do is give people money instead.
Yeah.
UBI.
Yep.
UBI. Period.
It's yep. It's way less expensive.
Way less expensive.
Well, yeah, it's less administration, less just give people money and let them make their own decisions. And again, we're a free society. You're allowed to make bad decisions with your money.
And the money, where does the money come back to? The economy. You give people money to live, they're going to spend it on living. They're not hoarding it like rich people do.
Mm-hmm. We have Kit the Daily Beaver here going, I'm living comfortably off my Beaver coin. Oh, I didn't know we were crypto bros now.
Have we minted something? We're crypto
It
bros?
seems so. Oh my God. If the kids had their way, it's like we'd be politicians, we'd have Beaver coin, it would just be a Beaver world.
Don't know that would be a bad thing.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think maybe the power would go to my head. I hope not. Ah. It would be terrible for the brand.
I had someone call me out because I had pronouns in my Twitter bio. I'm like, oh, yes, a no name, no face individual is picking on me because I have Twitter. I have a pronoun in my bio. Yes, a coward is trying to pick a fight with me.
Yeah.
Like, I just laugh because it's so pathetic.
I know.
They've got nothing.
I know. It's they're like I said, I just keep on seeing them go, and it's like I just think like this is your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel sorry for them, and then I move on and I enjoy my best life. All
exactly.
Right. Blaine Higgs. We've been talking on the show about a cabinet shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out the Premier of New Brunswick needed one before the Prime Minister did. Oopsie. Well, I guess that's what happens when suddenly you get a majority and you become drunk on your own power, and then you think that you have all the answers, and you think it's your job. This is the irony. You think it's your job to be raising children for the parents when they keep on accusing the other side. Right? It's like, oh my God. Like, we had this quote from him the other day that was like, I'm getting these talks of parents and, I have to fight. He said, it's not personal. I want you to know that this stuff is not personal, but I keep on thinking of my granddaughter. Because, and what she's learning in school, and how her parents, which would be either my daughter, one of whom is either my daughter or my son,
Mhm.
don't know what's going on in the schools. Um, you're the premier. Wouldn't they just ask you?
Yeah.
But it's not personal.
No, never.
It's not his personal view,
Mm.
but he thinks about his grand. It's not personal, but you're using a personal example.
Of
And then
course.
you're in this personal example. One of the parents doesn't know what's going on in the schools. And you're the
Yes.
premier.
Can we
And
please
one of the
stop
parents is your
electing
child.
dumb people? Please? Like,
He's literally, so he's at this point where he's so hoisted so high on this petard.
mhm.
He could go, it's not personal, as it is very, very clearly personal because he's leading the charge and everyone's saying, don't do this. And go, well, apparently Big Daddy Blaine knows better.
Of course he does.
And we have like this is the party apparently not of like get government out of your life and give you back control of your life. And so this guy thinks it is his job as premier to make it the state's job to tell parents personal information about their children. But that personal information about their children belongs to him and the state to do with whatever they will, to disseminate to it. But they're small government, and they want to give you back control of your life.
And Skippy went out and defended that yesterday and said the prime minister should stay out of this. Okay, stay out of this, but get into that. Take care of this, but ignore that. Again, flip-flop boy. He just never,
Terrible
ever.
flip-flop boy.
Oh, it's brutal. This is brutal. He's such a little shit, Gibbon. Like, the man is not fit to lead a one-car parade. He isn't. He's not. He has no leadership abilities. All he does is rage farm. He hates you. He hates this country. All he wants is money and power. Nothing more. I will say that till the cows come home. And guess what? I don't even see them in the field. That's how far away they are. So I'll be saying that for a long time because he just wants money and power. He hates this country and he hates most of the people who live in it.
Yeah.
Unless you're a wealthy donor, he doesn't care about you at all.
And then you got this twit, Garnet Genuous, who now has a new pro-conversion therapy friend with Braden, who just arrived from Portage Lisgar. And he goes like, Seamus O'Regan Jr. said, guys like Pierre Poliver, who is openly gay and part of the Liberal cabinet, guys like Pierre Poliver talk a good game about freedom, but not all kids are free to be themselves at home. Not all parents are accepting. Not all homes are safe. Schools can be. Schools should be. And then Garnet goes, the default presumption for liberals is that public institutions know more and care more about kids than do parents. No.
That's not what's being said here.
No, the default presumption is that schools should be a safe place for children.
Period.
Very clearly. A policy of excluding parents from important conversations about their kids is going to make kids less safe, not more. It's not a policy about excluding parents from a conversation. It's about deciding who gets to determine when the conversation should be had. You, the state, or the child when they're ready to tell their parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your decision. It's not your information. This does not belong to you. Keep your filthy hands off it. And number two, aren't you the guy again, let me remind myself, who tried to keep conversion therapy, which literally is torture, conversion therapy of children, legal for yet longer? And you're going to come and tell me that you care about, get the fuck out of here, you.
Oh, no. You can say all the
Dripping,
expletives.
gaping,
Raging.
just
Go.
take that BS and GTFOH. Get the fuck out of here.
He's just a hateful individual.
Perhaps sit this one out. You want to torture children. Don't come and tell me you care about children's safety. Sit this one out.
That's what it boils down to.
This is not your place. This is not your time. This is not your moment. Zip it.
You know, it's what Seamus O'Regan tweeted. Not all kids are safe at home. That's the thing. There are millions of people in this world who will tell you the moment they came out to their family that they were eliminated from the family. They may have gotten their ass beat. They were no longer a member of the family. They were probably thrown out into the street. And there are stories of this that I've read and heard and watched confessionals about people talking about their coming out experience and how traumatic it was for them because they were suddenly ostracized from their own family. The people that are supposed to love and protect you and accept you for who you are no longer accept you for who you are because you finally revealed who you really are. So, yeah, Seamus O'Regan's got this one right. Garnet Genuous can get on his broom and fly the fuck out of here. I can't stand that little hateful little bastard. And that's what he is. He's a hateful little bastard. And apologies to his mother. He's a hateful little prick. How's that? Is that more suitable? I think he's a hateful asshole. He's a hateful asshole is what he is. Trying to find the right expletive here that won't trouble somebody attached to him. He's a hateful asshole. Period. Period. And he doesn't care about children. He wants to torture them. Wouldn't that make him a groomer? I'm just asking questions.
Not sure it applies this way, but
Well,
I mean, if you're talking about sending them to that boys camp or that boys camp in New Brunswick where they teach you how to be a real man.
Yeah.
You come back after 5 days when you've dipped in the palm olive of masculinity. You've soaked in it for 5 days.
Madge, you're soaking in it. On another topic, I don't know if you knew about this, but the Ford government lost their appeal to keep the minister's mandate letter secret.
Lost?
They lost the appeal. They spent 30 million taxpayer dollars to keep their mandate letters about how they want to govern us, the people of Ontario, a secret.
From us.
From us. $30 million to keep a secret from us about how they intend to govern.
So we were basically paying to have a secret kept from us. And then we had to pay again to get the secret told, and then had to pay for the other side to try to still keep it a secret while we were paying to try to get the secret told to us. Now, that court case, again, all the fees from that court case should be coming from party funds.
I mean, but conservatives are fiscally responsible, remember?
And they're brilliant at taking partisan expenses and finding a way to funnel it to the public. That was a partisan expense. Like this, the only reason you want to keep that quiet is not for our benefit, the public. It's for your benefit as a party. That should have been a party case.
Mm. Why am I paying
that's
for
one
it?
of these things I wish if we had more definite lines on that. There would be way fewer of these cases if parties had to fundraise to finance these things.
I think they'd stop pulling that crap, right?
It's basically PR through legislation, through litigation. Sorry. It's like, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to fight this carbon tax all the way to the Supreme Court. First-year constitutional student could tell you that the government's in the right to do that. But no, I'm going to go through all 3 levels and I'm going to fundraise like hell off it. But I'm going to go through all those 3 levels. And after we do that for 7 to 10 years, we'll go, oh, well, and then we'll just move on to the next thing. Oh, yeah, triple E elected Senate. Oh, after 10 years, that didn't work. Okay, activist judges. Okay, well, that didn't work now. I guess, but it's always the same damn scenario. Because they always tell you that the Constitution does the opposite of what it does and that they'll make it so. Right? The EE said it. That was 10 years of Harper telling us that one man alone, him, would be allowed to override the Constitution
That's a dictator.
and impose an EEE Senate. And everybody said he couldn't. And then he took it all the way to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court slapped that down. But he raised money for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, nobody ever spoke of an EEE Senate ever again. Because they couldn't take it any further up. Yes, now you got people talking about the 90-year mortgage.
So
these people are not serious.
I got to make a comment about the 90-year mortgage. Okay, the longest amortization rate in Canada is 30 years, unsecured with 20% down. That's the longest. The 90-year mortgage, yeah, that's a European thing. That's a Japanese thing. That's been going on for about 50 years, if not more, whereas you don't ever actually pay off your house. Your children take you leave your house to your children, they inherit the mortgage. This is very common in Europe. I have friends throughout Europe, and I tell them how, my buddy just, finished paying off his house, and they looked at me like I had two heads. Like, what? Oh, yeah. How old is your friend? 45. Yeah, he worked hard and paid it off early. He and his wife doubled up their payments. And how can you pay off? I'm like, what do you mean? That's not that uncommon in Canada. A mortgage is only 25 years. You renew every 5 for a better rate, hopefully. But, that's the extent of it. 25-year mortgage. What are you talking about? It's just not a concept that is available to people in most of the rest of the world. So, I mean, it's not outrageous that it takes place, but there are no 90-year mortgages in Canada.
No. Banks don't issue 90-year mortgages. And the article to whom he's referring, because there's an article in his little clip there. It doesn't say from what paper, but it says source. Oh, yeah, sorry. Source, Toronto Star, June 27th. So lenders now seeing 60, 70, even 90-year mortgages as Canadians struggle with rocketing interest rates, says the thing. Now, that's probably not a quote from the article. I didn't go and read the article, but that's probably not a quote. But it said what the source is. And then there's somebody, I'm going to have to take their word on it here, word for it, because I haven't seen the article either. It says, well, I read the article. It's not exactly as he's portraying it. Banks do not issue 90-year mortgages, but people may be locked into variable rate mortgages where the payment remains the same if interest goes up, but the amount to principal is reduced, thus having the effect of a 90-year mortgage.
That's kind of different, don't you think?
Yes. So basically, there's some people that might be making interest-only payments.
Oh, and that's I've spoken to people
as rates are. As rates are going up, which therefore extend. So, listen, it's not a great situation.
No, but when times get tough,
and any stretch of the imagination, but it's not people going in applying for 90-year mortgages either.
It's when times get tough,
lies,
people will do what
fear,
they have
and
to
distortion.
Do. They'll do what they have to do, and if they have to just pay the interest for the time being, and not touching the principal for a short period, hopefully 3 years at the most, until they're able to get back on their financial feet. Who knows, whatever the situation was that put them there, catastrophic illness, you might have been out of work. There's a million different reasons as to why somebody would do that. And look, don't judge them. They're doing their best to keep their head above water. So if they're able to hang on to their house and all they can do is pay the interest on the mortgage, that sucks for them, and it's going to extend their term, but they're doing what they got to do. And this asshole's making hay out of it.
Yeah. Again, more political fentanyl.
Yeah.
Right into the veins. Lies, fears, and distortion. There you go, Jenwell. No nuance, twisted details, panic mongering.
Yeah.
Or fear congering.
Fear congering, yeah.
That's all they got.
That's it.
That's all they got. That's all they got. Ah, man. They're exhausting. Mr. Grizzly, how are we doing on time?
We got a couple minutes.
Got a couple minutes left. Okie dokie. So yes, we have Blaine Higgs that shuffled his cabinet, like we mentioned, because of the his whole policy 713 thing, getting very arrogant, and he lost Dorothy Shepherd and then Trevor Holder. So he's had to replace them. He still thinks that he is going to win this thing ultimately, but it just seems that there are so many people that are just tired of him being arrogant. And ruling it like it's his own little toy. So, I'm I'm not going to break out the cabbage just yet, but you might want to go and buy one. So you can have it ready to like put that little display.
I did say he wouldn't last until September, and I could very well be proven right about that.
Yeah. Well, now we're talking about Skippy and Blaine now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they're both on their way out.
Skippy, I'm not sure. He's a little more clever than your average bear.
He's a deceitful, conniving little shit given.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what he does, right?
Mm.
It was like wrestling with a pig in mud. The pig enjoys it and is better at it. There's been a flip-flop in Ontario. Doug Ford apparently went from unmitigated disaster and things will be like God help Torontonians if a lefty got in there to people expect us to work together and that's what I'm going to do. And Olivia Chow was like, meanwhile, the whole time said, I can work. Yeah, I can work with Doug Ford.
Sure.
It's like, we both love this city, so I'm sure there's common ground.
Oh, and I think that's a true statement. They both love the city. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's but what? Whereas she got to maintain the same tone. He's had to do a flip like that. Now, according to potentially Andrea Horvath, it seems that it may not be that much of a stretch that he might be okay to deal with, because she says that since she's become mayor of Hamilton, that dealing with Doug Ford has actually been quite positive. And Doug Ford in the legislature once said about Horvath that listening to her was like nails on a chalkboard, right?
Yes.
So they seem to have kissed and made up a little bit.
Apparently.
Since then. So we'll see what's going on. But he actually said, like, Ford actually said about Olivia Chow, she's actually quite a nice person. Ooh, think Dougie wants something? Turning on the charm.
I think so. Sorry, I was just fixing something. Yeah, well, you never know.
Man, that's so much fun. I love this. Politics, the art of the possible. One day, God help us, it's going to be an unmitigated disaster. She's really a nice person. I think we could work very well together.
An article in the Toronto Star just posted 2 minutes ago. Canada is ill prepared for disruption in oil and gas sector as global demand is dropping, and it's projected to drop. Demand for fossil fuels is projected to fall as nations work towards a carbon neutral economy by 2050. Do you realize that big oil in Alberta laid off 13,000 workers this year? Well, I shouldn't say just Alberta, but big oil laid off 13,000 workers.
Yep. Yeah.
A petro-based economy is not one to last. It is on its way out.
It's on its way out. Yeah. There's always going to be a need for some type of petrochemical industry, but
absolutely
being the core, the backbone of anything, no.
Like plastics aren't going away anytime soon, and they're all oil-based, petroleum-based products, right? And you go to a hospital, and there's so much petroleum-based product in the average hospital, it's beyond belief. That's not changing anytime soon. But using fossil fuels or big oil to power our vehicles and our homes, and that is going away. It is disappearing.
Absolutely. Couple extra tidbits. Here's one that will give people who like justice a good feeling. This is from the States, but the 23-year-old suspect who was accused of fatally shooting 5 people and injuring 19 others at a Colorado LGBTQ nightclub last year pleaded guilty to 5 counts of first-degree murder.
Wow.
He will serve 5 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Also pleaded to 46 counts of attempted murder with 48-year consecutive sentences, each totaling when you put them together, totaling 2,208 years. pleaded no contest to bias-motivated crimes. So he did shoot them because they were gay.
2,000 years.
2,208 years plus 5 consecutive life sentences.
Oh, so yeah. So, it's like
No possibility of parole.
he'll be dead, but his sentence is technically still on the books, right?
Right. Colorado abolished the death penalty in 2020. There are some people upset about that in this case. I can't do death penalty in any circumstance for me.
No.
Even though there might be some people who deserve it, and he pleaded guilty to something heinous, whatnot, and it seems that there's no doubt. So I can see a case.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
This would be the type of case if it was. Absolutely no doubt. You confessed, and all of that, but it's still taking a life.
Well,
but
it's also way more expensive to try and execute him because of the unlimited appeals process, right?
Yeah, right.
Which we pay for.
It could still result in death penalty because these were state charges and there are federal charges, and the death penalty can be applied in a federal case, and the FBI has confirmed that investigation is underway there. But yeah, that's
here's
let's see if these types of sentences are consistent for these types of things.
So part of my take on the death penalty, along with it makes no sense as far as I'm concerned. It's also fiscally irresponsible, but also it lets the murderer off the hook. He gets out easy, right?
Yes.
Instead of putting him in prison where he'll rot for the next, the remainder of his days, he gets off easy. He doesn't have to suffer anymore. So, anyway, that's my take on it. It just, I think it's cruel and unusual punishment to put somebody to death with the state to do it. Number one. Number two, it's not cost effective, period. It's just not. It's not. It's too expensive. You could lock them up for 100 years and it's cheaper.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in as well. Like you said, when you get off earlier, I don't care when it comes, but at some point, that when it's you yourself in a mirror moment is going to happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
At some point. And you know what you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll have his.
So some people that moment comes earlier than others, but
yeah, it usually comes to everybody at some point,
Yep, exactly. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission is asking you if you live or have lived in the Scarborough area in the last year or so, and you have some old lottery tickets. Check them.
Somebody
check
won
them today.
something?
Check it out. This is a $70 million Lotto Max prize.
That's about
that
to
was
expire.
won about a year ago. Yes, it must be claimed today, absolutely, or it will expire and the money will go back in the pot. It would become the largest unclaimed lottery prize in Canadian history. There's somebody out there, and if you happen to have lost the ticket, but you remember buying it, and let's say that you play these numbers regularly, you know that these are your numbers, there are certain things on the ticket that only the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission can know. So, for example, if you know where you bought it, what store, around what time, what,
right,
that type of stuff. So if you don't have that, you can still claim your prize if you happen to have lost it. But check.
Well,
check.
It could also be a case of the purchaser has perished, and they were cleaning out their stuff and just and tossed it because.
Also,
right. So somebody threw away $70 million. I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's funny to me. We got to wrap up. I got to get going.
I like when you go, it's funny to you. That's the end of this episode of Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring, word of mouth is priceless, so let your peeps and poops know about us. And because democracy is something that you do, if you can take a moment to donate to the Red Cross to help our brothers and sisters who are being devastated by fires, that would be the right neighborly thing to do. So, good on you. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, great show, lads. Thank you, Kit Ellen. Thanks. That's a sweet comment. We love to hear from you, so please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you could subscribe to us via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And that's that little squiggly down at right down beneath my microphone and my chin. There you go. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. So when you smash those buttons, as Kit Elaine says, there you go, right on cue. Thank you so much. If you smash both the like and the subscribe buttons, particularly the subscribe button, that really, really helps us out. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, that little squiggly right by Mr. Grizzly's head underneath the timer that shows that we are indeed live is where, if you scan that, that will bring you to our emergency hydration fund page, where things like coffee and Caesars and Guinness and sometimes Farm Boy gluten-free ice cream chocolate chip cookies are chocolate cook ice cream sandwiches are purchased to help us produce this for you. I mean, we could pay our internet fees, but I'm kidding. So if you're watching, you can scan that little squiggly, and if you're listening, you go to our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters, and make your donation. Yes, rainbow wine, Miss Sadeka. We also buy rainbow wine. All right, from the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And by the way, if all you kids have been sending me good vibes for tennis, it worked. I finally won my first match of the season and beat the guy.
Nice.
Beat a guy I've been playing for 4 years. So we played a rematch like this. I lost 8-6 that first day, but we ended at 4-4. And he said, you know what? You deserve it. So boom. Yes. Not a fluke. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom before you go?
Try and be kind. Try and be kind. Some days it's difficult. I understand that. I'm having a difficult day with my kindness today, but I'll do my best to do it because life is short and it's better to be happy and joyful than it is to be angry.
After considering all the alternatives, I've decided on optimism and happiness. Just seemed the best course. All right, Mr. Grizzly, rolling credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I burst out laughing during the credits because I saw the comment from Mystic Owl. Nobody beats Douglas 18 times in a row. I love it. Okay, kids, another programming note for our Canada Day episode, so come for that. Now, I know I've promised 3 times over the last 2 weeks that I'm going to be appearing on Dean's show.
It is today.
And we have this Jimmy Kimmel, Matt Damon dance going on. I keep on getting bumped. So I'm told it is going to be today, but I'm not going to promise it because fourth time's a charm. But apparently today it's going to happen. So fingers crossed that it actually does. All right. Have a great day.
See ya.